I don't even know if this audio is working at this point. Let me check this out here. Hello, my first viewer. You are my best friend at this point in time because what's this? Yep, it does show that I'm live. Let me see if the audio works here. Hey, let me know if you're able to hear me, if you're able to see me, or if my eyes are weird because I'm not wearing my glasses. And no, I'm not about to start wearing my glasses. I mean, I might because this is actually pretty painful, but I need to get my glasses changed. Yeah. But hey, it's good to see you. So we're about to spend an hour opening up books, talking about the year, and basically catching up because it's been a while, hasn't it? Yeah. I probably have to give this explanation a bunch of times, but it did snow today. I was supposed to make a trip. I just cannot drive in the snow, so had to push that to some other time. And here we are doing a live stream. It's cool. So let me know if the music in the background is too loud or if you can hear me. I want to make sure that you're actually able to hear me clearly. That'd be pretty nice. In the meantime, I will check on YouTube here to see how I look and to like my own video because that's what yeah, it's working. So I was hearing two voices from a different hey, Uncle Ben. It's good to see you, brother. So Uncle Tchassa. I have a friend, Mafo, in Sweden who calls me that sometimes. But yeah, it's good to be here. I think this is the first time where I'm live, and yeah, I've been off sort of the internet for a bit. I think. I mean, technically, I haven't because I was still online watching people and just being there, but not creating anything. And I've had this itch. You know, those moments when you feel like there's something that is not right that you need to figure out. So just this moment, I had to just take a break. I don't want to call it a break. It's more of so when you're driving to a destination and you just pull over to just sweet. Divine says the sound on the video is great, so that's awesome. Good to have you. So it's like when you're pulling, so you're driving. I mean, I'm using this example. Ooh, thanks. Alrighty, awesome, Ben. Thank you so much for being here. I'm enjoying your book. It's like I'm just going to keep on my thoughts for the review, and I'm hoping that we can talk about it at some point. So yeah, thanks for being here. I really appreciate it. I mean, I'll be here for a bit. Yo, Mark is here. Mark is in the building. You have Divine, Ben, Mark. Thank you so much for being here. I mean, this is one of those things that I'll be doing a lot more. I think I'm not sure, but I had the idea to do a live book haul because I have all this bunch of books that I got. I think about almost 3 weeks ago. They're used books, so they take a while to get here, and then when they get here, I'm no longer excited the way I was when I bought them. So I just put them all down, and I wanted to make a video where I was opening them up, but that's just too much work. So I said I'll go live, and then we'll talk about the year while I open up the books, and then I'll show you my knife skills because I got this knife that I like, but on Amazon. It's not like I'm a knife person or anything, but yeah, I like it. So what have you been up to? How's the year coming up for you? And by the way, if you want to join in, just feel free to let me know. Should I just put a link here? If you feel like joining in, you can just hop in and we'll chat, open up the books, and then you can go back to your, happy life because this is it. I've been thinking too much about going live, and now I'm just going to do it. So where's that thing? Oh yeah, there it is. So copy to clipboard. Yeah, if you're watching this and at any point you want to join me here and make me feel less lonely, you can do that. If you don't have to, let me preface that. You don't have to, don't do it out of pity. Like I knew what I was getting into when I turned on this live. But if you feel like joining and bouncing thoughts about the year, that's totally fine. So link to join. Don't feel pressure. Would be nice. That's just too much explanation. Just put link to join. Link to join. That cool. So we have 3 people watching. Let me know where you're watching from, what you're up to, what time is it where you are, and then we can pick it up. Error occurred. Yes, Mark, I got actually that's the reason I wanted to do the live stream, because all the books I got most of them around the same time. I feel like this music is a little bit loud. Please let me know if the music is loud, because I'm hearing it in my headphones at the same time as you're hearing, but I want to be sure that I'm not just pumping your ears with this music that I love. I think I'm pumping my own ears instead. I think what I'm going to do is reduce the audio right here. Yes, I like this for myself. I think that works. I'm so smart. Anyway. Oh, can't hear the music actually. That is interesting. All right. Well, the music just stopped now. It's it's like some low, chill, lo-fi music. It's nothing exceptional. I'd love to join, but it's almost 1 a.m. Hamburg. Might fall asleep. Chloe says, would have loved to join, but it's almost 1 a.m. in Hamburg, and I might fall asleep. That would be so cool to watch. Imagine in the middle of a conversation, you're just like, hey, yeah, and this happened, and that happened, and so, oh. Like, hello. So yeah, thank you for being here. Let me start by opening this box so that I can start assuaging. Music is cool too. All right, great. Yeah, I just put the music very low because I don't want to put it up. So this is the first box. Most of them are like, well, I don't want to put my address on the internet, so I'm going to just show it a little bit. This is the first box. I don't even know what's inside. I mean, I think I do, but I'm not sure anymore because there are a bunch of them. So let's see. Mark, I'm going to be able to answer your question in a couple of seconds about the theme. I got almost all these books when I read Navarra Vikan's, actually, Eric Jorgensen's The Almanac of Navarra Vikan. So at the back of the book, like back of most books that I really enjoyed, there was a bibliography, books that Navarra recommends, and other books that people can read if they want to. So I went to a few, saw the ones that were available, the ones that were still in print, the ones that could get used, because I've bought so many books that if I cannot find a book used and I cannot find a soft copy online, I usually just give up. But then again, ooh, cool. Yes, I like this pack. Joining from Nairobi. Hey, Divine, thank you so much for being here, man. I appreciate you. What time is it in Nairobi right now? What time is it? I mean, I could search on Google, but I'm sure you can just check your time and let me know. I like bursting these things for some reason. All right, first box is open. I'll pick up the book and then let you know why I picked it up. If anybody recognizes any of the books here, just let me know. This is Skin in the Game, Hidden Asymmetries of Daily Life by Nassim Nicholas Taleb. Yeah, my ISO is too high, but I don't know if you can see. You should be able to see it this clearly. Yes. 2:45 a.m. Divine, what are you doing up at this time? Like, I hope I'm not keeping you up. I mean, that'd be nice, but I hope not. Sleep is very important for me. I'll try to sleep 7 to 8 hours these days, but I'll make sure to make your time worth it. So if you have any questions, if you want to join in, just let me know. I'm more than happy to do that. So this is the first book by Nassim Nicholas Taleb. He wrote, there's The Black Swan, author of The Black Swan. Let me see what other books that he's written. He's like a modern day philosopher. Black Swan, what else? I mean, I haven't read any of his books. That's one of the reasons why I got it, because I've heard about the book a lot. It's one of those books that will change the way you look at the world. For example, you know what? I give up. I'm wearing my glasses now. Look at that. Became Clark Kent. Anyway. Let's say small. So it's, I guess I'll just say modern day philosopher. Skin in the game. The phrase about skin in the game, in large, like my mediocre understanding, is there's this advice, I think, that people say, don't take advice from people who don't have skin in the game when it comes to like politics and finances, because most people, the phrase skin in the game means you're going to lose something if something bad happens based on the decision that you made. So it's like, let me say your parents, they have skin in the game for your career most of the time if you don't do well. But then the person who really has skin in the game is you, because if you fail at making a good decision for your career, then you're screwed. So yeah, I guess I'll find out more and give a proper review when I'm done reading it. And yeah, that's it about skin in the game. Oh, this one, I already like the title. This is Thinking Physics. So the last time I did physics was in Form 5. That was 2005. No, actually, no. Opposite. I wrote advanced level physics. Did physics. This book is about understanding practical reality. So I got the book because I want to understand things that I should know, not just as a, to pass exams or to impress people, but I feel like there's just so much about the world I would understand when it comes to like light, cameras, physics. I mean, we all know gravity, right? But I feel like we don't really understand the way the world around us moves in a way that we can use this to our advantage in the sense of aligning our actions to match things that are already existing in nature, like, stuff. So yeah, Thinking Fit is one of those books that Naval recommended that I got. It's by third edition. Who wrote this book even? Gedanken Physics. I don't know. Lewis Carl Epstein. Yes, that is the author. So we'll see. In the book, we have contents. We have what? Visualize it. That's mechanics, fluids, vibrations, heat. I mean, I'm sure physics students will be very proud of me at this point. Light, electricity, and magnetism. Yeah, totally unrelated to my interest in personal development and relationships and stuff. But I think it's something that people should know. And I mean, I'm not the one to advise you what you should read, so I'm just going to read it myself. Oh, coming closely. If you know this name, let me know. Richard Feynman. If you have access to YouTube and you see some of his lectures, there's one lecture in which he breaks down basically all aspects of math from the basic principles in the simplest way. I think I heard something about, if you've ever heard about the phrase, if you're not able to explain it to a 5-year-old, then you don't really understand it. I think Feynman was one of those people who was able to explain the most complex levels of physics in the most simplest ways to make anybody understand. So I want to see if I can glean some of that. Yeah, lots of physics. I guess it's a physics pack. 6 easy pieces. Let's see here. What else we have? I need to stop buying books, but I can't because I love books. And I feel like whenever I read a book and I'm done with it, I learn a lot. Ooh, this one, I have heard of this one so much that I finally gave in and looked for a used copy. Sapiens by Yuval Noah Harari. It's what's the book about? Let me see. Interesting and provocative. It gives you a sense of perspective on how briefly we've been on Earth, how short things like agriculture and science have been around, and why it makes sense for us to not take them for granted. That was Barack Obama giving a review of the book. And Glory says, let me see here and put that on the screen for us to see. After my 530 physics grades at O levels, the title of that book alone, the title of the book alone traumatizes me. See, this is the thing about, I mean, the more I read, the more I encounter some of these ideas, the more I realize that there is a book for anybody. But if you get the wrong book, your whole reading experience for life can actually get skewed. I've come across many people, I'm sure you have as well, who tell you that reading is not for them. I think it's mostly because of the way people did in high school, or teachers, I guess, in school. Like you had to finish a book from cover to cover. You had to read a particular book to write an exam, or you just jump into the places that were in the syllabus to read it. So I guess a lot of us lost the enjoyment of reading, which for me, as time passes by, I get to enjoy it more and more because I'm discovering people first who have these really interesting ideas and who share them, freely on the internet. And then these people recommend books that help them to see the world the way they do. So for me, it's finding a process to pick those books. So the reason why I'm reading physics now, it's really because Naval has mentioned about understanding the basic principles. And I'm looking at the relevance of that in my own life, about understanding things at a very basic level. I feel like a good understanding of physics can give that. So we'll see. Sapiens is one of those books that apparently should change your life. What's so good about men? Let's see here. What's another topic? So 100,000 years ago, at least 6 human species inhabited Earth. Today, there's just one, us, Homo sapiens. How did our species succeed in the battle for dominance? Why did our foraging ancestors come together to create cities and kingdoms? How did we come to believe in gods, nations, and human rights, to trust money, books, and laws, and to be enslaved by bureaucracy, timetables, and consumerism? And what will our world be like in the millennia to come? In Sapiens, Professor Yuval Noah Harari spans the whole of human history, from the very first humans to walk on Earth to the radical and sometimes devastating breakthroughs of cognitive agriculture and scientific revolutions, drawing on insights from biology, anthropology, paleontology, economics, and incorporating full-color illustrations through the text. Harari explores how the currents of history have shaped human societies, the animals. Basically, you get the idea. It's a summary of life. Sapiens, a brief history of humankind. So that's what this book is about. And I'm looking forward to it. All right, the first box is finished. How's your year been? Let's chat a little bit about the year while I'm pulling this other content. Like, let me know what I mean. I think almost everybody at some point during the year has been like 2020 was the worst year that they could have ever had. Some people have actually said the opposite. So I want to find out from you. This is December, 11th, moving towards the next year. What would you say your word or your theme for this year has been? I mean, looking at the next one. Don't worry, I'll share mine eventually. So we have here another package. Another package. All right, this is just too much work. This is the point I'm supposed to be using that physics that I think I know to make it easier, right? Robotics or something. Hey, by the way, if you're enjoying this video, like it wherever you're watching and share it with someone. Because if you're sitting here and watching me, then you definitely have a thing going, right? I mean, it's not yet a relationship, we're not yet dating, but you know. I mean, it's not because of my pretty face, definitely. All right, this last batch. Yeah, I think we can do it in 3 batches and we'll be done. So this is the first one. Yes. So let's move on to the next batch. How has your year been? No one saying anything? Cool. Well, for me, the year has been, I'll say the word has been, I'll say unlearning. Yeah, unlearning, looking at things from a different perspective and really figuring out those areas in my life that I needed to address head on. You know, you can only run so much from your issues. I wrote a couple of days ago on Medium about forgetting about your strengths and focusing on your weaknesses, because I think a lot of us, I mean, it's just my thoughts. Like, I have no idea what you think. I just think that we are drawn to. Mafa says her year. Oh, this is nice. Let me put this on the screen. So first, we have Positive Africa. That's my boy, Frank. It's good to see you. 2020. Oh, Lord, words can't express, but I'm just thankful we are here moving towards the end. Right? Yeah. Great gratitude. Gratitude is one of those feelings that I think when we're moving towards Christmas and, you know, Christmas time and New Year, and people start looking back, I'm like, you know, it was rough, but I made it through, or at least I'm still here. I know that people who have lost family, like, and people who've died in jobs and money, like, it's not been an easy year for most people, I think. But for other people, it's been a year when they found out that they could really survive like the worst of the worst. And I guess the way they'll look at things from now on is going to change, and it might not be the same way that we'll look at things. I feel like that's something. So yeah, thanks for sharing that, Frank. We're definitely moving towards the end, and it's just the beginning. I mean, I guess it's like at the end of 2019, nobody thought it was going to be this way. So we might be thinking that 2021 is going to be better, but we don't know. And it just brings back the point. It's not so much about what happened or what's about to happen. Is like what's happening now. How are you in your mind? And that's the way I'm trying to look at things now. Glory says, my year in one word: whiplash. Whiplash. Reminds me of the movie Whiplash. It's like, you know, whiplash is the thing when you're driving and then the car has to stop, and then whiplash can actually cause your neck to break, I think. Let me Google that. What is whiplash? 1 second. I like to find the meanings of words when I find myself confusing. Whiplash. Meaning. Whiplash is a neck injury due to forceful, rapid back and forth movements of the neck, like the cracking of a whip. Whiplash is commonly caused by rear-end car accidents, but whiplash can also result from sports accidents, physical abuse, and other types of trauma, such as a fall. Excuse me about that. Yeah, that is whiplash. So now we know. And Glory says, whiplash because I have had so much to cry and celebrate about at the same damn time. Yep, you're like happiness, sadness, like happiness, sadness. It's like you're just two things to do, and that's tough. Kiacha is here. Kiacha says, so Glory, that picture is really, it paints a really how can I say, a good image to appreciate. Like, you've had a lot of things to celebrate, and then you've also had a lot of things to cry about. Whiplash. Cool word. Kiacha Atemken. I don't know if you guys have watched or listened to the interview I did with Kiacha, but he's an amazing writer. He's currently doing an MFA in Texas, and he's my boy. He's to force me to write. He's still doing it. I mean, he's not more forcing me now. He's like, hey, bro, he's just pushing me gently in his own way. So Keja says, 2021 be better, be better, oh, bro. I don't know if I should house the year, the man. He stayed in the house for so long. I mean, in the beginning, it was fun because I've been very lucky and blessed to have a job that I can work from home. And even before all of this started, the company I work for already had people working from home. So it was great they tried to transition a lot of people working from home because it's, it was nice. But after a certain period, you realize that it's not that fun anymore. You need to redefine, like sitting on the chair 6 hours a day, 7 hours a day, dude. I've gained weight. I don't know if you can see my jaws, but yeah, I've gained weight. And it's rough. It's rough. Like staying at home, not seeing sunlight, not seeing people. It's been a rough year. I feel you, Tchassa. I do. Mark says 2020 gave me a good reason to look forward. I agree. Not many words for this ongoing mess, lol. I'll wait till the dust settles. Do you think the dust will ever settle, man? I don't know. I'm trying to no longer expect anything, both good and bad. Like I'm learning to lean more towards living now, basically deluding myself. That I think the word is deluding myself that I am already where I want to be, and then let the thing happen. I mean, we'll definitely delve deep into this as the year rolls out, but I'm consuming a lot of content that is teaching me a lot more about intentions and affirmations and things that they seem like weird witchcraft woo things, but there is some sense in it. I want to get to the bottom of it myself with my own thoughts. So yeah. Positive Africa. Frank says 2021 better be cool, brother. See, we don't know. Now God know. Like, I don't know. I mean, we're here right now, 9 of us plus me 10, sharing this moment right here. Who would have thought that we'll be doing that? So we have no idea what's going to happen, but we know for sure that whatever is going to happen is going to happen, and we can only just do what we can. I know that doesn't make sense, but I'm still trying to wrap my head around the whole idea of you really cannot predict anything. All you can do is just be better, like a better person, and everything else falls in place, Divine says, my 2020 has been revealing in many aspects, so much opportunities to introspect, and sometimes one just had to quote unquote survive. Yeah. Survival is one of those things that the past 3 months, especially for me, have taught me. Like, I've gone to the kinds of lows that I did not expect, having to really go in my head and look at myself and wonder, like, what am I doing? Why am I doing what I'm doing? Who am I? What are the things I have to unlearn? Survival, man. It reminds me of all these zombie movies and all these places that you have to kill or be killed, sort of. But in this case, it's not so much about other people. It's like, would you evolve and become this new person, or would you hold on to this old identity that is no longer serving you at this time? So that's when you say survive, that's what comes to my mind, like adapting, changing, moving forward, using what you have and growing with the times, I guess. So yeah, Divine, thanks for that, man. I appreciate you. Ben Hinson. So by the way, guys, there's going to be a book review at some point, hopefully 2021, early first quarter of 2021. I'm reading the book right now. The hard copy is somewhere. I got another soft copy. I wanted to read everywhere I wanted. So Eteka, Rise of the Imamba. I can't tell you much about it here until I share with you. But Ben Hinson is the author. He actually sent me the book to read and make a review, and I've taken forever to do it. So I appreciate that. Ben says 2020 to date has been intense. I'm all the more powerful for it all. 1 more month to go. By God's grace, we shall finish strong. I appreciate you. I appreciate you for that, because somebody says, what universe? Okay, we'll see. I don't yet know what Shifty 420 is talking about, but it does sound like a lot. I think I'm missing something. Oh, yeah. I'm missing Tchassa's message. Intense. You see, this is what happens to my brain. I'm in one train of thought, and then I suddenly get distracted, and before I realize it, I'm going this way and getting confused and just having to pause and figure things out. So yeah, let me reread. So Ben says 2020 to date has been intense. Definitely. I feel like, March, I can vividly picture where I was around March or June. I actually quit college this year around the end of February, just before everything started. I was going through one of those phases of realizing that this is not something I want to do. This is not where I want to be. Like, I had to have some tough conversations and really look at the future and make decisions that will have consequences down the road. And not going into college was one of those decisions. Going out to hike with my buddies, Jared and Taylor, was another of those decisions. And actually, when I had to quit my job at some point and come back. So that's another story that I don't know if we're going to get into at some point. But hey, we're opening books. I've even forgot about that. But Ben, one more month to go. By God's grace, we shall finish strong. Definitely. Tchassa, it just says, I believe that there is equilibrium in the universe. If 2020 is rough, something magical will balance up in 2021. Vaccines, a better administration, better books, etc. You know what? I don't want to think that this is wrong. It's more like, I don't know if the equilibrium is in terms of years. Like, if this year is bad, this year is better. I feel like it can be a bunch of 10 years that are terrible and a bunch of 10 years that are better. Like, we don't know which one it is. It can be today is bad, tomorrow is not. And even the whole idea of bad or balance, it's like, I've seen tweets, and I'm sure if you dig around your network, you will find people who actually had the best, I'll say, success in your financial relationships lives in this year, like 2020 that just happened. There's a zeitgeist. The overall feeling is that it's been a tough year. I'm not ignoring that in any way. But there are also people who actually had better returns this year than others. So if you say a balance, it's also saying that, their year is going to be worse because it was better now. So I don't know. I guess I want to explore that a little bit more. I have no idea. And okay, that's why Shifty asked, what universe? And he said, you mean space? Except space doesn't exist. Second law of thermodynamics, to have gas pressure beside a vacuum, you need a container. If space is a vacuum, it would suck out gases such as oxygen to contain gas you need. All right. This is definitely why I need to read this book. So, Shift, I don't know if you saw this, but I got this thinking physics to actually be able to understand some of these things at the fundamental level, because I realized that me anyway, I read a lot of personal development and not very much fiction, but the basics, fundamental principles of the way the world runs, like science, I haven't really delved into that a lot. And just what you're talking right now shows that I'm, missing a lot. Earth is a closed system. You see, some things that I need to know one day. So let's get back to the book opening. That's what we've been doing here. And where are you guys watching from? I would like to know. We have Divine from Nairobi. I know we have Tchassa from Texas. I don't know where Ben is. Shifty, where are you? I mean, you just have to give your city, not your full address. Just so that I'll have an idea of, I'm sure it's late wherever you are and you're figuring things out. Got my nifty knife here. I like to use this to open everything. I mean, I start opening with that and then I pull the rest out. What do we have here? I think it's one book. It's a thick book. Which one is this? Why did I get this one? I have no idea yet. Let me know if your mind works the same way. Like, do you forget things? Or do you get triggers to remind you of things, basically? Like, for me, I don't know what this book is, but once I see it, I'll know why I got the book. That's what my book. What is mathematics? Yeah, this was definitely from Naval, from the Almanac of Naval Ravikant. So this is what? An elementary approach to ideas and methods. By the way, is my screen reversed? Are you able to read? Let me know if I'm not just showing these things for no reason, if you're able to read it. So, ooh. Shifty's from Australia. This is great. Awesome. I feel honored. And I saw Matt Diavella. I don't know if anybody knows Matt. Matt and his wife are moving to Australia, actually. He's huge. He does videos on creativity, minimalism, and filmmaking. And yeah, I love Matt's videos. So, yep. And we have Frank. I keep saying Frank. Positive all the way from 237 Cameroon. Yep. Awesome. And Ben says, if there's one thing 2020 has helped me master, it's mastering my mind and what I choose to focus on. Glass half empty versus full. Yes. Being at peace and always moving forward no matter the situation. I'm in Texas. Nice to meet you all. Ben is from Texas. That's really cool. Tchassa, Maryland. And we have Pastor from Cameroon, where I was born and raised. Here we are. And yeah, I love this message, Ben. I think I was listening to a podcast just a couple of moments ago. It's a deep dive. So long story short, this guy on Twitter who has a cool podcast, which is overall like a cool guy. And he put up a tweet yesterday saying that people should, DM him with your number. He's going to call, maybe. And I was like, what do I have to lose? So I did a DM. His name is Danny Miranda. And Danny called me and we talked for a couple of minutes, like 15, 20 minutes. And it was a really cool chat. And I decided now to dive into the podcast. I started listening from episode 1 with Tej Dosa. And bro, this podcast is just opening my mind to things like it's not like I'm getting motivated, because that's one thing I'm trying to avoid, like this feeling of motivation. You have energy to do something just at that particular moment, because I'm trying to look at long-term solutions to issues that I have. And so when you said this about glass half empty, half full, I remember it reminds me of something that they said. One of them, I think almost all the three people I've listened to so far said about, the mindsets that we have, whether it's trying to be more loving, more compassionate, more at peace, and all these things. When you said that, it just triggered a thought of it's an ever-going process where we are always learning and we fall short. Nobody is perfect. Nobody knows exactly how to get it done. The fact that you want to be positive doesn't mean that you don't have negative thoughts and sadness and grief and all those things. So it's just, I guess it's a reminder to myself that while working towards being more glass full than glass empty, I should remind myself that I'm not going to succeed all the time, and it's okay, because I tend to be hard on myself. I don't know about you, but I tend to be hard on myself when I fail to do certain things. So yeah, that's a nice reminder of working on being more appreciative of the things that we have and just really growing as people. So I appreciate that. Thank you. Tchassa says he doesn't mean space from a more philosophical angle. Well, he did say that. And yeah, we can read. Cool. It's good. It's very good. So that is the book. What is mathematics? And I mentioned approach to ideas and methods. So this is my story in math. Maybe one day I actually want to make a video about this, which is why I'm trying to pick up all these fundamental things. It's when I was in Form 1 in I don't know how to reflect that in American system of education, but I was 11 years old, 10, 11, and from 1 to Form 3, I was actually pretty okay with math. Like when I look at my results from then, I had no problem with math. But something changed around Form 3, Form 4, 5 that just made me feel like I just became, mathless. Like I just didn't know math. And for some reason, I picked up this identity that I don't know math, I'm not good with numbers. And I've been telling myself this story for a long time, to the point where now I'm realizing I haven't even given myself the chance to undo this story. Like something definitely happened. I'm not aware of what it was. I may never be able to know it, but I don't have to keep carrying this identity. So there are a bunch of math books in here because I'm trying to really understand those fundamentals from a perspective of trying to stop that identity from defining who I am, because I don't like the idea that I'm comfortable saying that I don't know math. Like I don't have to become a theoretical physicist or work at NASA, but at least I need to be able to be comfortable with numbers and know the basics, right? So that's it. This is it. This is one reason why I got this book and why I'm getting a bunch of other books that have to do with math. So yeah, that's the whole story. What has been your experience with math? Let me know. Let me see if we have anything in common. Like, are you very good with it? Have you had difficulties? Did you transform your difficulties into strengths? Let me know if there's something that has happened to you. All right. Put this here. It's like I'm skinning this. It could have been the math teacher, right? Glory says it could have been the math teacher. Listen, it's possible, because what happened to me with biology is that I fell in love with the subject because of the teacher. So it's very possible that I stopped enjoying math because of my math teacher. But then that would be me blaming the teacher, right? And I don't like the whole idea of victim mentality. I mean, I'm working on not having that mentality, because I feel like in some ways we all do. We always have something that we can blame somebody for. And it's easier to blame people than to actually work on ourselves and be like, actually, I'm responsible for this in my own way. So yeah, it could have been the math teacher. I don't know. But the math teacher is not here. And how do I? That's why I get this knife. I can do things like this. I actually cut my finger once when I got this knife, and it wasn't fun at all. Ooh, yes. More math books. And this one is small. This is thinner. So I'm looking forward to that. Ben says statistics plays a big role in what I do professionally. I am not surprised. Like, dude, I'm actually looking forward to a conversation, because I know that you've from all indications you've seen a lot of the world. Like, I don't want to start asking those questions here, but I guess I'm keeping my curiosity in check, because I know that there are things that I want to discover in real time while we are talking. So one day I'll ask these questions. I'm never going to ask what you do, but statistics is a big deal. Yep. So we have Zero by, let me see if I can read on the screen. Yes, Zero, the biography of A Dangerous Idea by Charles Saifi. I think Saifi? I don't know. Who can pronounce this word? I'll not pronounce it. I'll not even bother at this point. But yeah, so the book is about a universe of ideas bound up in the simple notion of nothing. The Babylonians invented it, the Greeks banned it, the Hindus worshipped it, and the church used it to fend off heretics. For centuries, the power of zero savored of the demonic. Once harnessed, it became the most important tool in mathematics. Zero follows this number from its birth as an Eastern philosophical concept to its struggle for acceptance in Europe and its apotheosis. What's apotheosis? I don't know. Find out at some point. As the mystery of the black hole. Today, zero lies in the heart of one of the biggest scientific controversies of all time, the quest for the theory of everything. Elegant, witty, and enlightening, Zero is a compelling book. Enlightening. Zero is a compelling book at the strangest number in the universe and one of the greatest paradoxes in human thought. So yeah, I'm going to be reading about the number zero. Who does that? This guy. So, mathematics books here, and physics books here. Yes. And then all the other books about philosophy and human nature here. I like to stack my books. Sorry. Divine says, flunked math till Form 5 and lower seed, but never fell out of love with it. Alas, upper seed was my big revelation in it. So did it end up well or it didn't? For me, I mean, I barely passed math in upper seed. It was one of those subjects that I wasn't expecting to be able to pass. Funny enough, I actually had a B grade in Form 5. Like, I had 6 A's and 5 B's. My B's were mostly in science subjects. I said biology, that was an A. But yeah, did you find out that you loved it or that there was no way after that, after upper seed, sorry. So yep, Joy of X, look at that. By Steven Strogatz. Okay. Strogatz. A guided tour of math from 1 to infinity. Many people take math in high school and promptly forget much about it. That's what we're talking about, right? But math plays a part in all of our lives all of the time, whether we know it or not. In The Joy of X, Steven Strogatz expands on his hit New York Times series to explain the big ideas of math gently and clearly with wit, insight, and brilliant illustrations. Whether he's illuminating how often you should flip your mattresses to get the maximum lifespan from it, explaining just how Google searches the internet, or determining how many people you should date before settling down. That's a good one. Look forward to that. Strogatz shows how math connects to every aspect of life, discussing pop culture, medicine, law, philosophy, art, business. Strogatz is a math teacher you wish you had. You see, Glory, this is a person who should have been teaching us. Whether you ace integral calculus or aren't sure what an integer is, you'll find profound wisdom and persistent delight in The Joy of X. I mean, people who get sweaty when they say find X, I guess it's an opportunity to not get sweaty anymore. So yeah, we have that. And what else? Divine says the flunked math. So next one. By the way, the reason why you're seeing these yellow things and not like Amazon Prime is because I stopped. If I cannot find a book used, I don't know how to explain this, but I don't buy clothes, I don't buy shoes, I buy video games sometimes. But Gloria says detailed review of Joy of X, please. You know what? 2021 is going to be one of those years when I will just pop in randomly like this and just drop things that I've been working on, because I realize that when I set schedules or when I say I'm going to do this thing at a particular time and tell people, I actually don't do it, which is weird. Accountability doesn't work for me the same way it works for people. But when I want to do it myself and find ways to work around my own procrastination, my own mindset, I always end up doing it. So there's a very high chance that we'll be seeing the Joy of X. And all these books, I have this thought and this goal of this idea in 2021 that I may not buy any books anymore. So unless somebody's sending me a book for review, yeah, I'll just sit and read all the books that I have and then do reviews. So we will see. And imagine I put this knife and then I close it and destroy the book. That'd be so sad, wouldn't it? Oh no. Let's see what we have here. I remember why I got this book. So, hey, let me read this one first before jumping in. Uncle Tchassa, I have to step away from my evening run now. Nice. That's longer, but you came on just when I was preparing to leave. This was very refreshing. Yes, let's make that conversation happen when you're ready. Wish you and everyone on this call nothing but good fortune and happiness. Until next time, cheers. P.S. I'm a gamer as well. Oh, this is good. This is very good. I'm playing Rogue Company, and I'm actually planning on not playing Rogue Company with my boy Mark, who was here earlier. So thank you so much for being here, Ben. I appreciate you, and have a good run. It snowed here, so running is not happening. But yeah, it's good to have you. Thank you. And I'm sure we'll have a very good conversation talking about things like there's just so much we have in common that I'm here to discover. My boy Mark would probably like to have a chat with you as well. So we will see. Thank you and see you next time. Glory said, do the review of Joy of X, please. And what? Use books are the spice of life. Tell me about it. Like, you see a book on Amazon. This is one of those things that I'm still getting surprised by. You have the same book. It's like $23 for the hard copy, hardback, say $19 for the paperback. And then you see used $1.28, shipping $3.99. But the thing is, when I saw that first, I used to think like, yeah, the book is probably like a tattered, destroyed book. Like nobody wants it anymore. They've used it all. This is a used book right here. Looks like, so this is $1 Million Consulting Professional Guide to Growing a Practice by Alan Weiss, fully revised 5th edition. So this book, it was a recommendation from Noah Kagan. You might not know him. He built AppSumo. It's one of these platforms that, he's built like what he was one of the first, I guess, 10 employees at Facebook, or one of the founders. I don't know, not sure. But AppSumo, he has a bunch of other companies that he runs, and he has a YouTube channel. So I saw he made a list of the books that changed his perspective. And one of those books, and the kinds of books that I'm looking for now. There's a quote by Haruki Murakami, which says, if you read all the books that everybody is reading, then you end up thinking what everybody is thinking. And I've been actively trying to read books that I know that most people don't read. So that's why I'm taking recommendations from Naval and looking at older books, whether it's Origin of Species by Charles Darwin, or on the Adam Smith book that I'm sure if you ever did any class in economics, you've heard about it. The what's it called? On the Wealth of Nations. I think that was that book. Yeah. So yeah, this is $1 Million Consulting. It's about building a thriving consultancy with bestseller. Anyway, I can't talk much about this book yet because it's not exactly in the space that I was looking for. It's when you want to grow a business. So there are many technical terms here that I'm yet to discover or come across. I have no idea what I'll be telling you about. But I know that it's a book I need to read. So let's put this here. Different league on its own. All right, here is the next one. How's this one torn? So yeah, sometimes you get a book and this is what it looks like. Ooh, let's see what Shifty said. The very method of idiocy is flawed and proven to be wrong. Globe model falls apart quickly with simple science and measurements. Are you talking here about Earth is flat, stationary, and a closed system? Well, I have no idea about this because I'm not a physicist. I haven't done any experiments. So do you have any evidence to back this up, Shifty? Do you have any articles, any books that can help people like me who don't have understanding to grasp at what you're explaining? Because it does sound like you have something really huge here going. So let's see. What else do we have? Hey, the 10 of you watching. That's cool. I appreciate you. Oh, this one I was looking. This one you're going to like. You're going to like this one. I remember when I saw this one. This one was. So I saw. Let me see if I remember where I saw this book. It's Pygmalion in the Classroom. So if you know the legend of Pygmalion, I don't know if you call it Pygmalion. I call it Pygmalion because in French, in Cameroon, we had Manga, which was a French channel that showed anime. And it's my gallon of water, nothing broken, don't worry. And Pygmalion was this kid who, I think he was frozen. I don't remember exactly what the theory was, but there's a Greek mythology of Pygmalion. Let me see if I can find it to explain it better, because I would not want to rub this over. Pygmalion essentially is, what happens when you believe something. Excuse me. Why is my throat so dry? All right, Princess Wordnet, Pygmalion, Greek mythology, a king who created a statue of a woman and fell in love with it. Aphrodite brought the sculpture to life as Galatea. So, the idea of the theory is that you want something so badly that you make it come to life. And Pygmalion in the Classroom is supposed to be the book that talks about how teachers influence students by really their expectations of those students. So it's an old book. Let me see when this first edition was written. Oh, see. This first edition, what did it? So copyright 1968. Look at that. I'm reading books from isolation. The ISO is just so wide, I can't see anything. But yeah. So I'm going to read this one. I will definitely probably be looking at a review about this because I want to be doing more book reviews. And I feel like my difficulty is I don't feel that I have the skill to actually do the reviews well. But the only way to gain the skill is by doing the reviews. So we'll see. But yeah, Tchassa says, in my lit class this year, we studied the Zen writings, Rumi's poetry, texts by Epictetus, Seneca, etc. It's amazing how texts written 2,500 years ago are relevant to confronting the pandemic in 2020. Dude, I just put up, let me see if I can find it. I just put up a thing on my WhatsApp status yesterday. It might still be on, I'm not sure. But it basically reinforces what he just said. It's gone. Old problems, old solutions. It's one of the things that the more I listen to Naval, the more I read books, the more I see how all these ideas come in contact. Even what Shifty is talking about with the science, you realize that the old problems have old solutions. Some new age guru might come and talk about, buy this course and I'll teach you this thing or figure this out or, mentor you. But if you go to these older texts, that's why I love people like Ryan Holiday, because there's Ryan Holiday, there's Robert Greene. I don't know if you know this. Ryan Holiday wrote, Ego is not the enemy, Obstacle is the way. Robert Greene wrote Mastery and 48 Laws of Power. Like, these are people who take all these old texts and in a way they compile them, they curate them to make them relevant to the context. And I think those books are amazing. That's why I'm here to read the 48 Laws of Power. Sorry, don't judge me. But you're right. Epictetus, Seneca, all these philosophers, dude, there's so much wisdom in these old texts that people consider old now, but still retain truths. And that's why I'm even reviewing my stance on the art of war, because after reading the comments that people have been putting on my video, I made a video. If you have not watched it, you watch it, where I said, not like the art of war. And I was like, don't read it. But I've read comments, interacted with people in the comment section and discovered that I may not have been ready to get the information or the context in which I was, the way I was reading the book, the way I was looking at it and applying it, may not have been the best way to understand the text in the relevance at the time. So I'll probably read it again. I'll speak in the classroom. I'm putting it here for this human nature and everything. So Pimano in the Classroom is really one of those books that I want to read because I'm trying to understand more how to encourage people to be their best selves. I don't know if that makes sense. No, scratch that. I want to understand how to get people to realize that they have a lot more potential and they can actually choose to move forward and become better by their own volition. Like, we don't need people to tell us that we are okay. And I'm saying this because the problem that I have, like, I feel like I'm always sort of looking for this validation, even online, with people telling me that what something I wrote was good. Like, I catch myself sometimes while I'm writing, asking, like, are people going to like this? Or when I'm looking at my stats or looking at the comments, or I'm always like, what if they don't like it? So I'm trying to really get to the place where I can understand how I can do that for myself, like how I can give myself that validation, that positive feedback loop of what you did was okay and it's good, like not needing other people. Like, other people is great, like having your peers, your family, your friends who support you and tell you that you did good, that's great. However, what happens when there's nobody around? Do you suddenly stop doing the right thing because nobody's watching and nobody's telling you that is the right thing? I don't think that's the way it should be. And I'm trying to figure out a way to that. So I don't know. That's what I'm hoping to get from that book. Let's see what we have here. Next one. So yeah, what are your thoughts on this idea that we all need motivation and we need people to tell us that we did good? I'd like to hear what you think. Yeah, just bounce ideas. Oh, by the way, the invitation is still open. If you want to join me here and discuss while I'm doing this, that's completely fine as well. So let me know. The link is up above. You can, if you scroll up, you see the link. Put the one day I did this and actually cut my hand. Like, I put the thing and I split myself. But do I learn my lessons? Probably not. It's another math book. Yes. This one is thicker. It's like a novel. So it's, let me read it from the screen here. A mathematics journaling. Let me just read it. A mathematician's journey through narcissistic numbers, optimal dating algorithms, at least 2 kinds of infinity, and more. Things to make and do in the 4th dimension. So the title is Things to Make and Do in the 4th Dimension, and then the subtitle is those red lines that you see there. So yeah. I guess I'll find out. Let's see. Many people think math is boring. The problem may be the way the subject is taught, although it's also true that most of us find math difficult and counterintuitive, but this counterintuitiveness is actually part of the point, argues the mathematician and stand-up comedian Matt Parker. Who knew a mathematician could be a stand-up comedian? I mean, in my mind, I've never put those two things together. But the extraordinary thing about math is that it allows us to access logic and ideas beyond what our brains can instinctively recognize. Starting with the foundations of math, familiar from school, Parker takes us on the grand tour from four-dimensional shapes, knot theory, mysteries of prime numbers, optimizations, algorithms, and math behind barcodes and iPhone screens to the different kinds of infinity and slightly beyond. To infinity and beyond. I guess that's where that came from. Both playful and sophisticated, things to make and do in the fourth dimension invites us to relearn much of what baffled us in school, and this time to be utterly enthralled by it. I'm looking forward to this. Especially because it does seem like a novel. Let me see. As you go, different faces will appear and disappear, like some sort of over-engineered cootie catcher. Oh yeah, I guess it's an origami, I think. Folding this shape and opening back up in different ways known as flexing, which is why these shapes are called flexagons. Ha! Look at that. Learning. Math, go here. Okay, last book on this batch is almost finished. How long are we going to be here? 2 more minutes. Let's open this last one for getting the next batch. You know, sometimes if you want to drink a lot of water, you just find a container that you actually enjoy. And I love my gallon. For some reason, I prefer to drink water from it than to drink water from a glass. I mean, I guess it's because it also keeps the water cool, so there's that. Why do I make those sounds? That's weird. The History of Pi by Peter Beckmann. The history of pi, says the author, though a small part of the history of mathematics, is nevertheless a mirror of the history of man. Peter Beckmann holds up this mirror, giving the background of the times when pi made progress and also when it did not, because science was being stifled by militarism or religious fanaticism. The mathematical level of this book is flexible, and there's plenty for readers of all ages and interests. Look at that. A fun book about pi. Like, just see this. Like, this is supposed to intimidate me at this point. Can you see the formulas? Formulae? Yeah. So this is what I'm going to be enjoying. Who sent me? But you know the cool thing? I know for sure, this is the thing about books that people don't realize. If you have the mildest interest in a subject and you find a book about it, like a well-written book, of course, you can take a few days, go through this thin thing. Like, this is relatively thin. And by the time you come out, you basically upgraded your brain. Like, that's what I find about the beauty of books. Like, you can upgrade your brain and become somebody else by just staying still and staring at symbols on the page for a few hours a day. I don't know. Reading is cool. So yes, the last batch is finished. We're almost getting to the end of it. Oh, there's one here. Yeah, let me open this one. Don't know what this one was. Definitely a used book as well. Yeah, looks like I'm able to share this one. Yay. Ooh. Glory says, the Fourth Dimension book reminds me of a movie I watched, The Laws of Thermodynamics, which told the story of a young physicist's relationship in relation to those laws. Right? This should be fun. This should be fun. I'm looking forward to it. Like, this is all new territory. Like, I've read so many self-improvement books. I've read a lot of entrepreneurship books, business books, relationship books too, but I've never delved into math, like actual mathematics. Never. Greeks claim to be the first to know pi, except for the Great Pyramids are the only known structures to have pi, phi, and golden ratio. You see, like now Shifty is getting me to think about getting to history because I'm sure there's like aspects of history that it's a history written by the victor. So even if I look for a history book, how am I sure that whoever wrote that book is not, selling the Greek mythology? No pun intended. But yeah, it's going to be fun to discover what the history of pi, to see what happens with that. So I'll read it and see if there's any alternative narrative, if other people have said other things and stuff like that. Tchassa says there's a guy who can recite pi for 4 hours continuously. I think he said the Guinness World Record. Okay, well, what do you do with that? I guess the first thought that came to my mind, like, okay, that's impressive, but why? Why would I want to do that? I don't know. Seems entertaining, seems very useful, but I don't know if I would want to do that or ever want to memorize it. So, oh, this book was in the mail. I actually thought it was going to take a while to get here. So this is, let me show you what this is. The Systems Bible. The Beginner's Guide to Systems Large and Small. John Gall. So the reason why I got this book is because this year, 2020, was supposed to be the year of systems for me. I've been trying to figure out a way to be able to create content, write, build a side hustle, be a better husband, do my job well, grow financially, spiritually. And I feel like I'm always just all over the place. And when I saw this book and saw the reviews and got the recommendations, I was like, this book might be one of the books that I need to understand how to really organize my thoughts into systems to help me achieve, what I want to achieve. So we'll see. That's what the book is about. Systems. Let me see here. I thought this book was going to arrive like next month. That's the thing about used books. You buy them and then the theory arrive in 2 months because nobody's going to do any prime shipping because it's used. So yeah, let's see. The Beginner's Guide to Systems Large and Small, being the 3rd revised edition, blah, blah, blah. The Indispensable Handbook of Systems Behavior. Written specifically for all of us who must daily cope with the pitfalls, foibles, and failures of the systems that make up our modern world. That was not part of it. Information. Knowledge is power, wrote Francis Bacon, but Bacon's vast knowledge did not keep him from taking bribes and falling into disgrace. Okay, I think I'll just leave it that way. Systems Bible goes here. All right, we're getting close to the last batch of books. Do you have any questions? Do you have any recommendations? Do you have anything you want to talk about? Because when these books are finished, I probably have nothing else to say. I'll just have to disappear and go get dinner. That's cool. Gloria, I think of your whole list, the Systems Bible is the one I would get first. Listen, when it comes to books, right, I think I've stopped. What I'm trying to do now is just to get enough money that when I buy my books, I should not bother. Like, I have more books than I will ever read, and that's not about to change anytime soon. So when I see a book, I ask myself, am I going to read this book eventually? And if I can convince myself to not want to read it, if I cannot find a version. Oh, hey, Shifty, thank you so much, man. I appreciate the sub. It's I really like it. I'm grateful. Like I've been off from the internet for what, 2 months, got some really cool people joining, and I really, where I'm coming from now with this channel and generally speaking and just my content is like, I want to add value. I mean, I've made videos about value, but I want to add value that is independent of whether you like me or whether you know me or whether you on the same space. I feel like we all have something to offer. And I've been trying to really figure out like, what is the thing that I want to add to the YouTube space? So when I see somebody subscribing, it just reminds me like one more person who can be there to receive something that I can add to the table. Like we can have that interaction. So I'm grateful for this. It means a lot to me. Thank you. Thank you. More books. All right. Now these ones, you see, these ones are different. They're Prime because I probably bought them when they were cheap, or they were fulfilled with Prime. So yeah, Prime containers. I have a friend who hates Amazon. He doesn't want. I mean, it's not like he hates Amazon. It's more like he has this idea of the fact that Jeff Bezos and Amazon are just too capitalist, and he doesn't want to support capitalism. And I'm like, I don't even know how this thing works. I just moved to the US. I have no idea how these ideas I just want to read my books, man. Like, no. But anyway, so this ones are easier to open. Are they though? Nope. Yeah, let me get my knife. So yeah. So I have a couple of reviews, by the way, on the channel. If you haven't watched it, I did a review of The Alchemist, which is my favorite book in the world. I did a review of Bakwa Limbe to Lagos, nonfiction from Cameroon and Limbe from Cameroon, Nigeria. Oh, yes. You have probably heard of this one. This one has been this one has been coming a long way. Like, I had to buy this book probably last year. I kept pushing it, and I kept seeing the recommendations, and I kept realizing, like, I wanted to get the book eventually. Oh, let me see what Tchassa says. Tchassa said, I think your video today has inspired me to read outside my fiction and nonfiction list. So thanks for this, bro. I may even start reading math books now. Well, you have somebody to discuss with. Like, I read a lot of nonfiction. Too much, I think. But the more I listen to Navarro Ravikant, as soon as I read the Almanac of Navarro Ravikant, I realized that in order to advance, like, in my mind, not just in the world with like money and business, for me to be able to understand certain things, I need to have a grasp of science that allows me to understand it. And I was like, why? I just, yeah. So I appreciate that. And you have somebody to talk with if you ever want to talk about math. So yes. Conrad said, you should do more videos. You're one of the few people I will happily spend my time watching on a live video. Funny enough, you're not doing the trendy stuff that others do, like dancing. What's this thing with people dancing on live videos? I don't know. I can't dance to save my life. I think the last time I danced was at my wedding. If you see me dancing, I'm probably doing it only for one reason, for my wife. Like, I don't dance. And actually, I dance, but on my own for myself. Like, I could listen to a song and just move my body. There's no rhythm, nothing. Yeah. But dancing on live video, see, the internet is filled with all kinds of things. And I think one thing that's to understand is that you attract your tribe. Like, you attract the people who like you by just being yourself. And that's what I really want to do, to just talk about the things that I find fun, like math books and The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. I've seen this book, I've heard this book, I've done a bunch of things, but I finally had to get it because it was cheap and it was paperback, new. So let me let you know what this book is all about. But Conrad, I appreciate that, man. Thank you. I'll definitely be doing more videos. Like, the procrastination I've had about trying to get the right lighting and doing this, I'll surely just be going live whenever I feel like going live. And then if you catch me, great. If you don't catch me, I can always watch the video later on. But thank you. Thank you very much. So, The Power of Habit. This is the book. You've probably heard it. You've probably seen it. Let me see if I can make it not too bright. Why we do what we do in life and business. Charles Duhigg. So, in The Power of Habit, award-winning business reporter Charles Duhigg takes us to the thrilling edge of scientific discoveries that explain why habits exist and how they can be changed. Distilling vast amounts of information into engrossing narratives that take us from the boardrooms of Procter & Gamble to the sidelines of the NFL to the front lines of civil rights movements, Duhigg presents a whole new understanding of the human nature and its potential. At its core, The Power of Habit contains an exhilarating argument. The key to exercising regularly, losing weight, being more productive, and achieving success is understanding how habits work. As Duhigg shows, by harnessing this new science, we can transform our businesses, our communities, and our lives. So that's The Power of Habit. It's been quoted multiple times, almost. It does have some flaws. I discovered that one of the reasons why I didn't want to get the book is because it doesn't cover everything, but I don't know yet until I read the book. So when I'll find out, I'll see what I can supplement. But there is this book, and there's Atomic Habits by James Clear. I think Atomic Habits actually answers the questions of habits better than this one. It's just one of those things, like, this book has been talked about so much that I want to find out what is in it before moving to something else. But yeah. And Glory says, I second Ketcha's comment on reading way out of my list. You see, this, if there was one goal I could have achieved with this live, then I've achieved it. I feel like there's just so much to discover. I don't know if you can sense my excitement, but I like talking about books, and I wish I could read faster and more and really retain the things. But I enjoy discovering things that I didn't know, like ideas and theories and philosophies, and being able to, for example, recognize like something in the quote unquote real world and tie it to some scientific aspect. That makes sense. Oh, Auntie Ju is here. This is awesome. Just chuckling at the Conrad said, and the power of habits is like a great read. Yes, I think it is. I would not recommend the power of habit if, I mean, for me, it works right now because I've read Atomic Habits, but Atomic Habits by James Clear, I do have a copy and I don't want to get up because I'm lazy and I just like hanging out with you. But Atomic Habits, I think, is one of those books that gives a really great understanding and practical steps to do it. But until I read this one, I would not know like which to recommend depending on the situation. I think every person has. Let me put it this way: after listening to this podcast about today, actually about advice, the podcast guest actually asked the podcast host asked the guest. I think his name was Hughes. He writes really well. I just call him on Twitter today, and he asked like, "What advice do you have for people who are maybe down, trying to get up, trying to do this?" And he said something in the lines of, I'm paraphrasing here, so I'm probably wrong. He said something about not all advice works for everybody. Depending on where you are, somebody can tell you work harder and that's good advice. Another person can tell you work harder and that's terrible advice. So he didn't really give like, this is the advice or this is the book or this is the the routine. You need to first of all know where you are before you can find advice or books that work for you. So now that really cemented the idea of recommending books and hey, you should read this book, you should watch this movie, this is a great book. I realized that you really need to know the context of where the person is before saying this is a good book for you at this particular point. So the power of habit, because I haven't read it, I have no idea. But since I've read Atomic Habits, I can say that would be a good idea too, to pick it up, right? Oh yeah. Check says, I've had Atomic Habits on my shelf for months now, but still have a backlog of books to go through. There's always more books to read, man. Like, do you really think I'll be able to read all these books in 2020? Like, and these are just the hard copies. I have soft copies. I read fiction at night. I found a system that works for me, which is why I got this one to be able to have better systems. But I don't read fiction during the day anymore, and I only read it on my Kindle. So if you send me a hard copy of a fiction book, I'm probably going to find a Kindle version of it, which is counterproductive because I like the physical books. I like to take pictures. I like to see them. But since I read in bed, which I don't know if it's a good idea, but I read fiction at night, I'd like to have my Kindle, my low light, and yeah, I do it. So I think you should read it. It's one of those books that I know I have to reread because I finished reading it and I did not apply a lot of the ideas in it. So yeah, but yes, power of habit. Let's put it here. Next one. So, what books are you currently reading? Let me know. What are you reading right now? What books are you planning to read? Do you have a current reading list? Do you have a a Christmas list? What are you reading? Let me know. Auntie Ju, thank you so much for joining. This is nice. I keep saying Auntie Ju because I can't let go of child in me. But anyway, so let's see here. What do we have? Ha! This is another recommendation from Naval. It's what's this? The Book of Life by J. Krishnamurti. Who has read the Bhagavad Gita? I haven't, but I don't know if anybody here has. Hey, that's a lot of books. Yes, it is. Let me see here. I've read The Power of Habits. Didn't finish it because I didn't find it very useful. You see, that's what I was just saying. Like, you don't have to finish books. One thing I started understanding about from Naval, from what he was saying, you don't have to finish any book. I think secondary school, high school, we thought the book is in the syllabus. You have to read it. You have to read all of it. But there are times that I start a book and I don't finish it, or I come and read it later on. I've discovered, for example, that I am more likely to understand and appreciate a book if I actually have a problem that I want to solve using that book. I don't know if that happens to you as well. Auntie Martine, that's a lot of books. Yes, it is a lot of books. I love books and I used to feel bad about it, but I've worked on that, so I don't. I don't play video games a lot. I don't buy clothes. I don't buy shoes. I don't smoke. I don't drink. I read books, so. Now, Check says, currently on Homo Deus by Yuval Harari and Principles by Ray Dalio. I have actually, Sapiens? Just got Sapiens by Yuval Noah Harari. I'll probably get Homo Deus after I read this one. I want to finish reading it first. I really had to pick it to see exactly which one I could go with first because, yeah. And then I have the Skin in the Game by Nassim Nicholas Taleb. So yeah. Parts of it. Check says you get a life. You know what? This is my life. You get a life. But yeah, so you finished. Yeah, it's a good read. I think. I mean, there are people. It's. I hear it's a difficult read. I don't know. Is it true? Like, it requires you to really focus, and then because there are books that are easy to read. Like I finished what Naval's Almanac in like one day. I was just flying through it. So yeah. Here we have The Book of Life by J. Krishnamurti. In my own life, Krishnamurti influenced me profoundly and helped me personally break through from the confines of my own self-imposed restrictions to my freedom. Deepak Chopra said that. Okay. So this is a book. Probably have to skip through this one really fast, but let's see here. 365 daily meditations on freedom, personal transformation, living fully, and much more from the man the Dalai Lama described as one of the greatest thinkers of the age. I guess that should be fun. Yeah, I'm getting a lot into spirituality and the Bible and reading other texts that I guess I'll say provide some kind of context to be able to apply some spiritual themes in my life, because I think it's really important to have that backing. Like, what I realized with some of these successful, quote unquote, successful people is that they always have that backbone, whether it's Christianity, Jewish, whatever it is, there's that spiritual backbone of, yeah, you're doing all these things, you're making all this money, you're impacting all these people, but there's something that grounds you, And I discovered with time that I haven't really tapped into that to really understand and make my own mind around some of these things for my own context. So I'm hoping to get some of that juice through this one. So where do you go? Here. Yeah, let me see here. Not really. It's very exciting. Oh, okay, cool. I guess you're saying Skin in the Game. No, not Skin in the Game. Sapiens is very exciting. So I'm looking forward to that. Sapiens reminds me of A Short History of Nearly Everything by Bill Bryson. I didn't finish reading the book. I started reading like 4 years ago. I never finished it, but I might have to read that again. But yeah, it does seem like a lot of things. And Kecha says, my next two books are What It Means When the Mountains Fall from the Sky by Leslie Neka Arima, speculative short stories, and The Shadow King, novel by Maza Mengiz, shortlisted for the 2020 Booker Prize. Leslie actually got me a copy of The Shadow King. I started reading it, and then I realized that this is the kind of fiction that requires me to focus. And so I gave up, but I haven't given up completely. So, yeah, we'll see that. And thank you, Kecha. So, What It Means When the Man Falls from the Sky. I've heard about this book multiple times. I think Howard made a review somewhere, but I haven't read it. I haven't read of African. I actually have a whole shelf. One day I'll probably I'll make a video. My shelf of African books, like just African authors, from Maza Mengiz to Imbolo Mbue to, can't even call names. Yeah, that's how much I need to read African authors. Glory says, I'm studying How to Find Fulfilling Work by Romain. You know what? The name is on the screen. I got it because of two words: Wild Achiever, which have been coming up in my radar lately with regards to career, and a good and Crafting a Career Path, a second part. So, a good recommendation for spirituality is A Book of Joy by the Dalai Lama and Desmond Tutu. That sounds like I feel like you open the pages and then white light is just be shining out of it. Look at the two people, right? White light will just blind you, like, oh my God, so much spirituality. But yes, thank you for the recommendation, check. I'll definitely be adding to my list. Book of Joy. Let me put that somewhere. I'm supposed to have a pen everywhere in this house. This is not nice, but anyway, I'll keep that in mind. Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. Yes, I've heard about this. I have the audiobook. I haven't never listened to it because, this is the funny thing about some of these spiritual texts and just, general advice, habits, and all these things. If you're not ready to receive a message, you will not receive it. That's why sometimes you have to listen to the same thing over and over, whether it's a Bible verse, some nonfiction book, or something. Sometimes you aren't just ready to receive the message. And I think I wasn't ready to receive The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle or even The Alchemist until I read it. And I read it at different times because there are particular messages that come up. I think that's the same appeal with the Bible, because you might read the Bible from beginning to end, 1 year, 2 years, and it's like a quote unquote fun book to read. But depending on where you are, particular passages, particular verses will pop at you and you will be able to really understand and apply that in life. So I think I might be ready to read The Power of Now. Don't yet know, but I'll see. Yeah. Divine says, I'm currently learning how to speed read. Speed reading by Cam Knight is what I'm reading. So just 100 pages plus, but with several exercises. So far, it's quite good. Okay, I have my thoughts on speed reading. And they're not really my thoughts. They come from somebody that I admire who said the same thing. And I was like, yeah, I agree with that. I don't think speed reading works. That's just my thoughts, because I read fast, but I've not tried to read fast. I realize that I read fast when I like the book. So I know that techniques like put in the middle, using a pen. I'm sure there are many techniques that you can probably teach me, and I guess my mind would change if I actually read the book and applied it. So, Divine, let me know if you've seen changes. Actual, like, are you able to see the differences between when you were reading before and then when you're applying these techniques? Because I guess I'm a skeptic, and what I'm trying to say is, can you prove me wrong? So yeah. Check says, generally, I recommend studying multiple religions and develop your own principles to stand on. Given how the human history and all these things that we've had to go through, it's one of those things I'm like, yeah, it's generally I recommend studying multiple religions and develop your own principles to stand on. I don't know a lot of things, but when it comes to spirituality, I've realized that it's one of those vacuums in my life. Like when it comes to self-improvement, I will say, read this person and read this other thing and see this thing or watch this entrepreneur on YouTube. But when it comes to spirituality, I don't know where to turn to. And I really don't want that to be the way I get into 2021. So if you see me reading all these books and looking at this, like, I want to be very intentional about my spiritual life. And yeah, books help me do those things. So that's a beautiful line where you open the page and white light is shining out of it. Thank you. Quoting myself. That's awesome. Yeah. Fresno Keith, thank you so much for joining. I'm seeing you. This is the first time you're here. I really appreciate you, Keith. In your opinion, which is the one spiritual book you can recommend to read? That is a very tough one. First of all, I don't think there's one book that can solve any particular problem, whether it's spiritual, financial, whatever it is. However, I do think that you can read a book that opens up your mind to being more receptive to information that allows you to fix those problems. So depending on where you are in your journey and also your background, because if you're a Christian, obviously I would say read the Bible. Like, it will be a no-brainer. One of us, like, study the Bible more, get like a version that actually has study, chapters. Talk with somebody who knows and understands the Bible and who applies it. Somebody that you trust and where you can actually believe that they're doing, they're living a life of principle based on the text that you want to understand. Now, for me personally, I would recommend The Alchemist in a weird way. Yes, I know. Anybody who's listening will be like, yeah, Kamga, you talk about The Alchemist because you love The Alchemist. But The Alchemist opened me up to understanding that things are not as simple as we see. Like, life is not just what you see, like this computer or this phone, whatever you're watching this right now. That there are other things that are working, other forces that are existing that require you to believe, require you to be open and receptive to the nature around you. So yeah, I would recommend people read The Alchemist to start, because it's a story, young boy, Andalusian shepherd boy, Santiago, going through this journey and achieving his dreams or finding out something. But during the journey, there are so many things that he comes across that can open you to be more receptive to some of these things in the world. And this is a difficult question for me to answer, Keith. And I like such questions because it forces me to open up my mind to think about it. If I had to recommend one spiritual book, I'll have to think about it. Maybe one day I'll bring it up, because I haven't read many myself. So I can't really say, okay, I've read this one. This is what I think. This is where I don't know. But that's a good question. Thank you. I like that. So yeah, let's continue opening up the books. And if you haven't yet liked the video, wherever you're watching, please like the video and share it. I want more people to see it. So let's do it. But I mean, Keith actually prefaced by saying, in my opinion. So you were right. In my opinion, you actually asked my opinion, not me to give a general answer. So The Alchemist is what I'll recommend, because I think it's a good book to get an understanding of the spiritual and the way the world works that is not directly cause effect. Like, there are things that are beyond our understanding that we just need to be able to tap into and align ourselves to receive things. Okay. Yeah. I'm listening to the Danny Miranda podcast, and a lot of the people in there are giving recommendations of books. So I'm just putting that in my list and looking forward to reading them myself. In my knife. This one is not working anymore. So yeah. Hey, by the way, if you're watching this and you have a recommendation for Keith, please leave a comment. I'll read it and then, find it, see if I can find a review, and let's help Keith out. That's the whole point of this community, right? If you have any recommendations for a book, let us know. Yep. Check says, it takes a while to find your sweet spot spiritually. I'm not into the popularized forms of worship. I mean, I know you. I think I hear where you're coming from. I was born as a Catholic. I was born into Catholicism because my mom was Catholic. My dad was Presbyterian. He became Catholic. And then I went to church, went to boarding school. So yeah, I think I feel you. I mean, check, I'm sure you went to boarding school too. So we were sort of forced into, never forced, like we were just born into this. And it's like, if I was born a Muslim, will I now suddenly be a Muslim? Like at some point you have to ask those questions for yourself. And if you're in company or people that are not trustworthy to guide you to make your own decisions and to the truth, because I think ultimately what you want to know is the truth. It's not whether you're right or wrong. It's the truth. And that is a lifelong journey. I feel like there are people who live their whole lives and then finally on their deathbeds, they finally come to understand who and what they believe in and what they really stand for. So I guess it's a never-ending journey, but it's that process of journey and discovering things and being open to the messages. I think meditation helps a lot. I don't know. I cannot teach anybody how to do it, and we live in a world where there's just so much content, so much entertainment, so much, this is the best book, this is the right book, this is the thing you should read. Like, it's easy to get lost. That's why I love to read, because you interact with the context, with the text in your own context. Like you decide, do I believe this person? Do I trust him? And one thing too, which is why, dude, I'm excited about talking about this as I'm reading more, because when you're reading, right, there's a tendency for me personally to believe like this author is telling the truth. But you need to be able to be critical. Like, why is this person saying this particular thing? If you don't know the context of the author's, for example, the author's story, the author's personal history, he or she might say certain things that appear as truth, but because of their context. For example, I'm reading The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey, recommended by my boy Isaac. Check, of course, you know Isaac. And the underlying theme of Mr. Covey's text is very spiritual. Like he believes in he has a Christian background. He doesn't say it up front like, this is what I believe in, this is what I should do, but you can hear the undertones inside there. And because you're aware of those undertones, if you are not a Christian, that might even turn you off, or that might force you to think that the only reason why he's writing the book is because of that. So reading a book is not as simple as opening the pages and just reading the book, right? So there's you have to be able to make your own decisions after consuming the content. I'm stammering because I'm getting hungry, I think. So I said, boy, 7 years, mass, Novena. 7 years are based on here. So yeah, I feel you. Yep. Check says meditation works. The internet has everything you seek. Yeah, Jolly's finding that. Are these 4 books for next year or part of next year? Oh, this is just me. Let me put that on the screen. So these are books. I might not do this often because first of all, it costs a lot of money to do these things. And these are used books. So just for those who think that this was a lot of money, this wasn't a lot of money. I bought them used. But these are books they are fundamental books that I got as recommendations from a book that I read. The title of the book is The Almanac of Naval Ravikant by Eric Jorgensen. Naval Ravikant is this philosopher, investor guy who tweets some really insightful stuff. Check, I know you don't like Naval for certain things, but let's just leave it out of this conversation for now. But Naval is this guy who is like a philosopher who is rich and talks about things about happiness, about wealth, how to build wealth, how to be happy, and all these things. And so after reading his book, I understood that I needed to get some fundamental understanding of certain things, certain concepts that may be stopping me from really learning well. And the big argument is that depending on the foundation that you have, the reason why we learn alphabet and all these basic theories before we move up, you're only as strong as your foundation, whether it's knowledge, relationships, even your nutrition. You're only as strong as your foundation. So what I'm trying to do right now is to reinforce my foundation of basic concepts, mathematics, microeconomics, science, spirituality, so that I can be able to read new books or apply new concepts on top of these things. So I'm trying to unlearn things that I may have picked up along the way, habits and other books that I've read because of new age, new authors. So I'm going to the beginning of things. And that's why this one actually ties well with this, because this is microeconomics, Paul Krugman and Robin Wells. I really had to buy this book, unfortunately, because I think that, I don't know if it's out of print or there are no available copies, but this book is supposed to give me an understanding of microeconomics. Why would I want to read microeconomics? That's a very good question. Thank you for asking. Because the world in which we live relies on money, capitalism, stock market, crashes, bubbles, explosions. We hear some of these things on the news and we hear about it everywhere, but do we actually know what they're talking about? Do we actually understand at the fundamental level what this is going towards? So just to understand that, let me go through the comments real quick and come back. So Glory says, 2 my eyelids are betraying me. Thank you, Tchassa, for the funk of the shower. Okay, Cruz. Thank you and good night. See you tomorrow or some other time, Glory. I really appreciate having you here. So yeah, awesome. Let me read what Keith said. Keith said, I think we became Catholics, like you said, based on our parents and schools. For example, you and I went to the same, but reading these spiritual books and being in the world now, you find some of our opinions in different faiths and religions actually change. You couldn't have said it better, Keith. I think it's one of those things that is like, I always have difficulty talking about spirituality or religion because I don't have enough knowledge or understanding. So I'm always looking for people who can give me an objective perspective without trying to force me into a particular angle. Like I can sense when somebody's trying to convince me. I think anybody can sense when somebody's trying to sell you something, an ideology, a religion, a path, you can feel it. And you almost have this reticence of like, why are you doing this? What do you have to gain by me becoming this person, whether it's becoming a Muslim, Christian, or whatever. And I think when you start questioning some things and searching your own answers, then you can find that sweet spot that Czech was talking about earlier, finding your own place and your own understanding of these things. And that's a journey. It's like a never-ending journey of finding your values, your truth, and living life on terms that you and your God are on the same page at. Because if you're conflicting, if you're doing things that you don't believe in, it shows. It comes up. Like you can't run away from yourself. Yeah. And teacher asked, are these store books for next year or part of next year? I would say it's part of next year. I'll be reading these books throughout the year, and I don't want to say I'll not buy books because I know that I'm going to buy books. If I find books that are relevant, I'll buy them. But I'm very likely to not buy as much books as I have. I have more than enough books to cover probably the next 10 years. So I'll be reviewing a bunch of these books. When I read them and I have any lessons to learn, I don't know, 5 tips, 5 ideas, 5 concepts, 5 themes, whatever it is, I'll be coming to the channel to share them, probably live, or I'll make it like an actual video explaining things. But yeah, I'll be doing a lot of these reviews during the year. So yeah, Microeconomics by Paul Krugman. Paul Krugman did a master class. I don't know if anybody here has a subscription to the master class, but you have all these people. I think it's a macroeconomics, and it talks about cool stuff. So I mean, the last I did economics was in Form 5. So yeah, all right, that was a long time. Jack says, I like him though, disagree with him on certain things. That's it. Highly recommended wisdom. Oh yeah, you're talking about Naval. Yeah, I think Naval, and I discovered somebody else today, Use is a younger guy that I'm still digging in his content. I listened to his podcast episode on the Danny Miranda podcast, and I'm still digging in to find out those core values to really make my own mind to come and share with you. But as soon as I'm done understanding where this guy's coming from, I'm so excited to share about these people that I'm learning from and what they're teaching and the kind of things that you can learn from by just consuming free content online. Like that's the thing about some of these people. They write articles, they make podcasts for free. There's no course, there's no mentorship program, nothing, Look at this guy. He says, I'm here for background vibes, not smart enough to follow the conversation. Says the doctor who saves lives. These people, whenever I hear somebody there, I'm not smart enough to do something, just forget about them. This is my best friend, Dr. T. Kwe Jib, right from the UK. So, hey, buddy, I'm sure you're happy to see me here. So, I feel you. I can see you nodding and smiling. So, yeah, that's okay. Keep doing that. Yeah. Czech says, it's man's responsibility to find himself. It's a pilgrimage to Mecca Islam talks about. Yeah. This life is short and long at the same time. You're born into a family. People help you, prop you up, family. And then at some point, I guess it's, adolescence, you discover that you can make your own decisions. You can rebel. You can choose what you want to do. And for some people, I think we get stuck in that phase. We just rebel for the rest of our lives instead of completing the curve by finding our place and giving what the world, we receive all these things from milk from our mothers, clothes from our parents, teachers, and then we receive all these things. And then we get to a certain point and then we forget to just give. We forget to actually put our own value to the things on the earth. And I think something I need to think more about, like, it's not so much about what are we taking from people, I need to get a better job, or I need this relationship to work. It's like, what am I providing? What am I adding to the world? And I think everybody has something to add, That's what I think. Paul Krugman, I'm sure that's who you mean, smart economist. Yeah. I saw the course. I haven't taken the course yet, but I think for me, books work in a way. I don't know about, like, do you prefer, just question for you who's watching, do you prefer soft copies, hard copies, I mean like hardback or paperback, which if you can differentiate, or audiobooks, or a combination of both, or none, or it depends? Let me know. Excuse me. Let me know which one you like. Let's see if we're in the same page. I'm going to give my own answer as well. So just let me know what you think, what works for you so that, yeah. Oh, look at that. Just to show you. This is where I read. This is where I read my fiction. Right now, let me just show you where I'm at. My playlist stopped. So, oh no, I didn't. So when I got this Kindle, I didn't think I was going to like it. I was like, I didn't like it. It was, black and white. It's boring. I don't enjoy it. Then I found a reason to actually read it. I got books on it, and I'm currently reading. I don't know if you can see it right there. Probably can. Why is it taking my face? No, don't take my face. Take the book. Anyway, that's not going to work. So I'm at 50% in Rise of the Mamba. And then I'm rereading Reinvent Yourself by James Altucher, so I'm at 61%, and also Personality is Impermanent. Oh yeah, I'm almost done with that one as well. 61%. So I'm almost always reading. Hey, Delight is here. Let me go through these chats again. Combination of both. Oh yeah, check says combination of both for soft copies and the rest. So what's this? Audiobooks are faster to finish than physical books. I agree. What I've been doing now is that I test the book by finding the audio version, and if I like it, I buy the book. That's what happened with Lives of Stoics, the recent book that Ryan Holiday wrote. I was skeptical because it was different from his other books. It was kind of historical compilation of the stories of different Stoics in time. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to like this, but I listened to the audiobook. I was like, this is a good book, so I got it. Yeah, I test books with audiobooks. They finish fast, but I prefer podcasts when it comes to audio. Delight says 2 a.m. and I'm still here listening to you, Kamga. I am so honored to hear this. It means a lot to me because you could have been sleeping, which is really important. And by the way, I think you should sleep if you have to. But the fact that you're here means a lot to me. So thank you. Thank you very much. Divine says, signing out from this end. I'll definitely pick up here later. Have a great time there. Thank you, Divine. Thank you for being here from Nairobi. I appreciate you. And I will definitely be right back here. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe I'll start doing a daily live show, 1 hour a day, to just talk about books and talk about fun stuff. I don't know. Sounds like fun. I'll see. Yep. My auntie Ju says she's a hardcover person. I give you faith. Like, you have to hold it. I have hardcovers. I mean, I'm here to answer the question. The check says he has Greece about, I'm sure you talk about the speed for the podcast, like you can test it and then get the book. So this is what happens. This is what I discovered. The big answer is it depends. There are books that, like, I'm currently reading the Personality is Impermanent as a soft copy. I like being able to put notes in the Kindle. Like when I read it, what is this thread disgracing me? Jesus. When I read it, I can put notes. I can come back to my notes. I can see my bookmarks all day. Like I don't have to carry it around. You can carry 1,000 books in here. So Kindles are extremely convenient. Soft copies are convenient. You can read them anywhere. You can download. That really works great when you want to get access to a book very fast for travel. And for me, for fiction, it works because I don't have to carry this big book and go into my bed in the night to read. So I can actually just read that there. Audiobooks, on the other hand, I can put them at whatever speed. There was a time I used to listen to at almost 2x, actually 3x speed. I picked up to 3x speed. I can listen to very fast. I can take a book, an 8-hour, 7-hour book, and listen to in like 3 hours. But I discovered while listening to audiobooks that the way I read, I like to sometimes read sentences. I like to go back and take notes and do that. So audiobooks don't work well for me when I really want to understand a book. It gives me a general overview, and I decide if I like the book, and I can get some basic concepts. But if the experience is not worth it, one such book that had a great audio experience was Talking to Strangers by Malcolm Gladwell. Honestly, if you have a physical copy of that book, get the audiobook. It was produced entirely to really get a good audio experience. There is that, and then there is Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. Those two books were two audiobooks that I listened to when I still had my Audible subscription. I cut it down because that was just too much money and I wasn't using it enough. But the way the books were, so you had somebody else was reading David Goggins' books and then asking him questions in between. So you could hear the person who wrote the story, his own perspective, giving you, in real time, like, this is where I was, this is what I was thinking, this is why I wrote this thing. And also adding, like, by the way, I did not write this thing here, but this is something else that I could see that was happening. So yeah, so for audiobooks, skim through fast. If the experience is good, perfect. For hard copy, if I can get a hard copy of a book, I'll always get it because I like to write notes and go back. And I can almost always see a book and then see like, okay, this is what this particular idea was. So, and I read faster than I thought I did. But yeah, yep. I don't know if that answers the question. So it depends. For audiobooks, soft copies, hard copies, it really depends. Ketcher says short stories and nonfiction less than 10,000 words, soft copy, real books. He calls them. So basically, there are two types of books. You have short stories and nonfiction less than 10,000 words, and then you have the rest of the books. That's basically a distinction for the two. That makes a lot of sense. So thanks for that. Yeah, I guess you find your method. I used to be one of those people who'd be like, oh no, read hard copies because that's the real way people read books. But then I realized, like, if you want to learn, there's no method that works. Only the one that works for you. So yeah, let's get to. So we'll go here. Let me open the next batch. We've been here for a long time, so should be wrapping up. Should be wrapping up soon. How many books are left? Oh yeah, 2 books left. That's it. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, this is probably another math book, I think. Yeah, I think I'm going to like this one. So I'll tell you my probability for the enthusiastic beginner by David Morin. If you see my list of books, you think I'm trying to get into science. So also, I'm taking some technical courses. So a lot of this reading is usually like I said, I want to understand some fundamental math, statistics, probability. This one I got because I have always wanted to be able to write and code research papers. But I feel like, yes, sorry, I get distracted again. Let me put on screen here what Delight said. If you want to learn, there's no method that works, only the one that works for you. Mike, where's my mic? Let me actually take the mic and drop it. Yeah, I discovered that the method that works for you is the best method. Even the book that works for you is the best book. You just find your method, find your book. People can tell you everything. You just have to experiment, try different methods, and find your sweet spot. If I didn't get a Kindle, get an audiobook, buy hard copies, I would never have discovered, like, actually, if I want to learn this particular kind of thing, I should get a hard copy. If I want to do this particular kind of thing, I should do this. So yeah, when it comes to book, I don't feel like I'm ever wasting money or time. Like, I know I'm going to get myself an iPad or some sort of, if somebody's watching, I want to send me a Christmas gift, iPad too, please, thank you. But yeah, I would like to read on a colored surface and be able to actually take notes with the pen and everything. But yes, you all should give him a bit. He's spitting bars. Thank you. Thank you very much. So, probability for the enthusiastic beginner. As you can see, I'm enthusiastic and I'm a beginner. This book is written for high school and college students learning about probability for the first time. It would appeal to the reader who has a healthy level of enthusiasm for understanding how and why the various results of probability come about. All of the standard introductory topics in probability are covered. Combinatories, the rules of probability, Bayes' theorem, expectation value, variance, probability density, common distributions, the law of large numbers, central limit theorem, correlation and regression. Calculus is not a prerequisite, although a few of the problems do involve calculus. These are marked clearly. Look at that. I'm about to upgrade my brain, bruh. Who would have thought I'd be excited to look at this kind of formula on the screen? Oh man. But yeah, I've always wanted to know statistics. I mean, I did a little bit of statistics in GMC because I wanted to do research, but I never really understood things. And I don't know. I don't like systems of education where students are not excited to learn, you know? I think learning is fun, but teachers somehow make it not fun, which is why I got this book, which if you're only in the beginning, you probably don't know it. This one. Oops. Pygmalion in the Classroom. It's about the influence of teachers in children education. So that's why I got this one, to really be able to understand that, because I do want to get more people to realize that your learning is within your power. Like, there's so many things that I've learned by just finding books, and they're not a solution to everything, granted. However, it can be a good place to start. Barrier of entry is very low. On internet is free. You can find there are free books in the Project Gutenberg. Like, there's so many. If you need books, let me know. I'll find you a way to get the books. Like, I mean, I won't buy them. Maybe. Yes, this is the final one. This one, definitely, I've been waiting for this one for a long time. This is volume 2 of the Great Mental Models. I'm still reading volume 1. Volume 1 is about mental models. This one is physics, chemistry, and biology. I don't know if you can see it on the side here. Yep. So this one, It's by Farnham Street. Farnham Street is a blog run by Shane Parrish. He also has a podcast. And by the way, he interviewed Naval, so you might want to listen to that particular episode. But this guy is really building, he built, I think it's a company himself. He writes about how to understand things, like understanding the world, whether it's science and mental models and nature and all that things. Like he really has devoted his life, I guess, to explaining things to people and explaining difficult concepts, whether it's in economics, physics, relativity, theory, and all that. Farnham Street is one of those blogs that by the time you're done reading a blog article, you feel like you're getting more and more intelligent. So they've produced two books. The first one was Great Mental Models Volume 1, Simple Mental Models. I can't remember the title, but this is the second one about physics, chemistry, and biology. And yeah, this for me, these two books can actually provide that foundation. And that's what I'm trying to get. With these books, I don't want to just buy books for the sake of buying books. Like it ends up being an addiction where you're just buying books because you can afford to buy the books and you never read them. It doesn't make sense to have all these books and not read them. However, the right book can give you the right foundation where you can basically walk into your library and pick up any book and read. And that's the ultimate goal for me, to be able to look at any book and read it. Because right now I know that there are many books that if I pick up, I'm like, yeah, I don't understand the basic concepts. I can't even go to the next level. So that's why you have physics, biology, chemistry, microeconomics. All these books are to be able to prepare that foundation so that I can have a conversation with the programmer without having to have read, I don't know, the books that programmers read, and understand logic, understand algorithms, understand things that, you can use on a daily basis, and you can also have a fun conversation with. So yeah, that was really what I wanted to do today. I mean, I'm finally happy that I've cleared this path. I need to go and pack the books now eventually, but it's been fun, and I'll still be here for a bit. Like, if you have any questions, any suggestions, anything that you want to talk about, next couple of minutes, I'll be here for you. I don't know if you can hear the music that's in the background because I really wanted to be here. I feel like it's not there. I'm not sure. Oh, Catch. Let me see this here. Ketcha says, I didn't see this one. Kendrick Kamga. I guess it's because of what Delight said. I was dropping bars. Oh, man. That was funny. But yeah. All right, let's see here. Oh, you're welcome. Let me put this up here. You're welcome, brother. It's good to be here. And yeah, I mean, is this something you actually be willing to have on a... You know what? We're going to do this on a daily basis for a few and see what happens, because there's always something to talk about, always a book to discuss. Maybe going a deep dive in particular podcast episode, a particular book. I really want to be able to make use of these tools and connect more. So yeah, I don't know what time it's going to be, but I'll be hopping in here on a regular basis to see how we can grow together and share things and talk. Thanks for this session, Kamga. I wasn't there from the beginning, but I've learned a lot. Thank you so much, Delight. I know I picked a very weird time. Time difference is not helping anybody at this particular point. But yeah, it was pretty late, and I was actually supposed to go on a trip, and it snowed, so I couldn't go on that trip. I couldn't drive. I'm not, about to find out if I'm good at driving in snow, especially in Denver. It's like, nah. So here we are chatting, and I really like Nyachek. Seems he's fun and smart. I want to have conversations with him. Check. I'm sure Check is smiling somewhere there. Check can be a condescending. I don't use a derogatory term, but Check is the kind of person that if you don't know where he's coming from, you have a very difficult time having good conversation. But once you understand, I think it's like everybody. I feel so. I feel like everybody, once you get to know their context and understand that certain things that they say is not out of spite, you can find that balance between letting them say some things that you're like, I don't agree with you, but that's fine. So I think Check is that kind of person that you need to understand his context before you can know where and how to have conversation with him. But I completely agree. We often have like private conversation in WhatsApp. We talk about things, and Check also writes, she seems to know you. Look at you. That's she. Delight. I actually did a video on the channel where Delight put up a tweet that I reviewed and talked about on the channel. So she tweets and she writes and she shares things. Yep. Kamga, you talked about having a session where we see a writing process. I'm still looking forward to that. Thank you for the reminder. I haven't even brought that up yet. I've been feeling shy. But yeah, maybe that's what I will do tomorrow morning because tomorrow was Saturday. I think I should actually write live. Yes. Let's do it. That's going to be a weird session because I've never actually tried to capture my process. I'm just thinking about it now. I'm looking at, do I read before I write? Do I start writing? Do I get a headline? But you know what? We're going to do it tomorrow, similar time. No, early in the morning. That will be around afternoon in Cameroon. That's Saturday. What I'm going to do is go through my draft folder, pick up a story, write and publish. Yeah. I've been doing, today is day 20, no, day 3. I haven't published today. I probably just missed today. But I am, since I haven't written in all these months, this could be a whole other conversation. Since I haven't written for the past almost a month, I feel like my writing is stale and stagnant. Like I have difficulties coming up with words. And so I have to figure out a way to practice by putting out all these articles that I don't like. Like I'm very like, this sucks. This article is terrible. It might be good. It might be okay, but I know that it's not where I could be, mostly because I haven't practiced. So for the next couple of days, I'll be practicing by putting out a story every day to just get, I guess, a sludge out. Yeah, so let's do that. Tchassa says, this was a real trick, Kamga. So just once or twice a week, towards the weekend. If it's too frequent, the magic of the book sharing tool will water down. You never know. But I hear your point and I feel you. It's just I've never seen anybody do it. So maybe I'll be able to keep the spark. I mean, how many books are there in the world? Think about it. If you have one book per session. This is one of those things I'm trying to break away from, like the theory of thinking about a problem to the point where you don't actually execute it. So I'm trying to work on, actually doing it and seeing. So we'll see. We'll see. The timing, for example, not everybody is available at the same time and all those logistics and all that stuff. But I am very grateful that you were here. And I'm sure that you, for example, you're a very busy man. And I know, I mean, everybody's busy. But I know that if you have a deadline coming up, you'll not be sitting here talking with me, but I'm going to make it worth your time. All right? Maybe I'll make it shorter. This has been almost 2 hours of this. So we'll probably make it shorter and see if it could be a daily staple. Yeah? Delight is delighted about the decision to do a writing process. Yeah, tomorrow, just, if you haven't subscribed to the channel here, just subscribe, turn on the bell so that when I put it up, because it's going to be one of those things where I will only schedule it in like a few minutes in advance. Because if I schedule it too long, I'll find a reason to cancel it. So I'll just put it and then just go live. So if you're here, we'll do it. If you're not here, hey, c'est la vie. But hey, I've been very grateful to have you. Delight, check, Tchassa. Let me go up and see. Auntie Ju was here. We had Divine. Shifty was from Australia. Ben Hinson Ben Hinson say he was in Texas. No, it's Texas, I think. Not sure. Let me see. My man Frank was here as well. Divine was in Nairobi. Mark disappeared. I don't know where Mark is, but I'm sure he's doing something cool. And yeah, Glory too is sleeping. Yeah, she had heavy eyelids and then just slept. But this has been nice. I really appreciate you staying here with me for all this time, talking about books. I think it's fun. I think it's interesting. And I'm back on the channel. Like, I wanted to do this live because I'm gearing to come back to producing content on the channel. I've been off for a month, figuring things out. It's not been fun, but I'm grateful. It sounds like a Christmas song in the background, is it? I didn't even plan for it. That's good. Nice way to end Christmas. So yeah, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to be ending the broadcast now. Delight, Tchassa, check. This has been nice. Auntie Joe, Auntie Tia, Divine, Ben, Glory, Keith. Yeah, Keith asked a wonderful question, and we talked about spirituality. Grateful for that. And if I get any other ideas and recommendations of books to read, I'll let you know. So it's been good, and I will see you in the next one.